We are live. We are live. We are live. Greetings, 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 greetings. Before I get the show started, I want to say bear down. Bear
Ah,
down.
ah.
No bears. Now, they are probably the number one reason that my blood pressure is through the roof, but I'm a sucker. And I continue to root for them. So, congratulations to the Chicago Bears for being number one in the NFC North. Pew, pew, pew,
Pew,
pew.
pew.
Pew, pew, pew,
Wait, we got sound
pew.
effects.
I know I was looking for it. Pew,
What?
pew, pew, pew.
Yes,
I
yes,
don't know what that
yes. Happy holidays. Tis the season to give thanks. Tis the season where they say we should give thanks. But it's so much loaded behind this giving thanks thing based on this here calendar. But we're not going to start. We're not going to start. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. I'm Bryson. I'm the who am I? Just the I'm just here so I don't get fined. Um I have the privilege of hanging
You here
and
because you fine.
That's
What you
what I
say?
heard.
That's what I heard too. Rudy, that's what you heard?
I'm
Yeah,
not
because
allowed
I'm
to comment just yet. I'm a
Oh,
guest, but yes,
I'm not allowed to comment just but yes.
my precipitancy or whatever you called me earlier says I can't do that.
That's it. The precipitalities.
Oh,
Welcome to the show, y'all. You see, it's already going to be a a stone. What they used to say on Soul Train, a stone cold blast. It's going to be a stone
Stone
cold
Cold
blast.
Blast.
It's my privilege. We're going to behave tonight because we have company, as you guys can see.
Oh no, don't do that.
Um, it is my privilege to welcome you. Is an honor. I can't believe that we are in the 11th month, wrapping up year five, year
Wow.
six,
Is it?
year five or six.
Mm.
Executive administrator.
I'm waiting for you to get it right.
It's
More than
more than that. It's not more than that.
not
It's not.
more. Huh? It's more than that?
No, because we
I was-
started after COVID.
oh,
No, I
We
don't know.
we
I just,
started during COVID.
I
We're
just
in.
looking for my
This
name.
is five. We're in five. We're in
Year
season five.
Thank you, Lord, for this executive that we have here, because me and the other one don't be knowing nothing. We just listen for our name, we click the button, we follow instructions, we add our stuff, and then that's what we really do. And that's really how this show works for real.
This wasn't even my idea, y'all.
This is really, I don't even remember whose idea it was.
Hers.
It was mine?
It was
What were we doing?
you. Talking on the screen. That's what we used
Talking
to
on
do.
the screen in COVID. Okay. Anywho, and there you have it. The show, season five. Ow. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's my privilege, it's an honor to introduce, present, share. Y'all already know these geniuses. Miss Angel Simmons, Brother LeAnzar Stockley, um, and a new beautiful face. And he has his hair brushed all out, his guitars on the wall, bears in the background. Hi, Rudy, aka Rudolph.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me after my comments in the comment section.
Your comments in the comments section get you here. Let me tell the
You
people
sure do. Ain't nobody safe.
a little. No one is safe. Rudy. Rudy is affectionately known as Big Rude Dog. It does not say Big Rude Dog on here, but I feel like you're supposed to add Big in front of the Rude Dog because it's only
I'm all
right.
right. I'm all right.
Um, Rudy is a writer, spiritual thinker, a former pastor whose life's journey has been marked by faith, struggle, and an unrelenting search for truth. Rudy's pilgrimage weaves through decades of ministry loss and renewal, led him beyond religion's walls into deeper understanding and life of compassion and authenticity. We like people with authenticity on this show, Rudy. He has walked with people through both faith and doubt, joy and suffering. Those experiences shaped his conviction that spirituality isn't about perfection or performance, it's about honesty, humility, and love in action. His own journey through hardship and healing inspires him to write and speak with transparency about the human condition and our longing for meaning. Rudy is the author of Mud, Blood, and Cardboard, One Man's Journey to Find the Truth About the Truth, and is currently working on creating the Rude Awakening blog and podcast, which will focus on challenging people to awaken their divine spark and embrace the sacredness of their shared humanity. Through his writing and speaking, he explores the intersection of spirit, suffering, and transformation, calling each person to rediscover hope and live from their truest self. At the heart of Rudy's message is a timeless truth. Humanity is starving for hope, and that hope is born when we begin to see one another through the eyes of love. His
Mm.
mission is to awaken hearts, stir compassion, and help others reclaim a faith that is not rooted in fear, but in freedom, unity, and the human spirit that connects us all. Ladies and gentlemen, Big Road Dog.
Rudo,
That made me
Rudo.
sound really good. Hope I live up to that.
Yes,
First
yes.
of all, can I say this though? I love that whole rude dog, rude awakening.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Bro, when I
sharp.
read that, I said, "See that right there? That's the
Yeah,
kind of ish I be liking."
yeah. Rudy, do you have a copy of the book that your current book that you have already? Because we
You
brag
mean
here.
you mean to show you on screen?
Uh-huh.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I'd
Now,
have to
Rudy,
step
you've been
away to go
watching the
find it.
show. You've been watching this show now, Rudy. Now you know.
Because you
You
should
know, you supposed to have your book too.
because we're gonna wait for you because we brag on this show.
Mud, blood, and cardboard over there.
Go
Yes,
for it.
ma'am.
I'll introduce
Been
I
married
know.
37 years. I know how to follow directions.
See?
Mud, blood, and cardboard.
Mud, blood, and
Mud,
cardboard.
blood, and cardboard.
Ooh, child.
While we wait for Rudy, I want to introduce the future Grammy Award winner, Mr. LeAnzar Stockley.
Ah, hey.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
In the studio. In the studio doing new things. What else you got going on, sir?
Um, just right now, nothing. Just the music. I also have, of course, you all,
Oh,
like Angel does. I'm ready this time. Relationality, consciously aligning to our divine relational worth.
mm-hmm.
hmm We need that. If you don't have that, you need you. If you don't have this, you need this because this is already in you. And so that's just real, bringing that out to awaken it a bit more. And then we also, of course, have the relationship ready. This is for you folks that want to be grown and you think you're ready to do a relationship, think you're ready to be in a significant other type relationship. This is what you get. But even if you ain't ready to be in a significant other type of relationship, the principles are universal.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we need them for everything. And then the last and not least, I think I'm also working on a workbook right now for relational repair. I need to get it done, but the studio took a little bit more of my time because I've been pumping out some music,
You've been jamming though.
but no, so I've kind of stopped that for a minute, but I'm gonna get back to that before the end of the year. But also our conversation cards. So just to kind of strengthen our ability or our opportunity to kind of get to know one another beyond just the surface personality level. And just kind of build connection and maybe, just maybe answer some of this loneliness that everybody feels from not
Leave that
being
pack
seen,
out.
known, loved, and heard. You know?
Leave that pack out. Just in
Yeah.
case.
So other than that, that's what I got going on right now. I think that's about it. Uh yeah.
Tell us about your latest track.
But my latest what?
Track.
My latest track or the album that just got put out. So I just did the
I mean, it's a track, it's an album. Let's go. Let's talk about
just
it.
just put the Christmas album out, y'all, that I actually did using AI. Although all of the lyrics, I have to tell people this because some people was hoping to hear me singing on it. It was not me singing. I wrote the song, so you get the tune, the lyrics, the tune, the structure is all me, but the performers are not me. You don't want to hear me perform right now. I have Vegas voice, so I've used my AI personas um, to actually put that project together. It's like 7 songs, 2 bonuses, so you got like 9 total. It's called A Covenant Christmas. And one of the things that I'm doing and trying to do with music is kind of writing the stuff that I think I wanted to hear. And so this particular Christmas album is not necessarily about Jesus being a baby, all right, but it's about Christ being born in us, and so then also I'm also kind of doing some things right now with kind of looking at what I'm calling unit worship is what I would really call it, but it's more so things that not just this traditional stuff of everybody just got their hands lifted vertically to God, but us really learning how to actually live out that. So that whole faith expressed in love for real between one another and making that and having that alignment. But also, like I said, with the Christmas album, um, it's really speaking to love, Christ, however you want to see it, authenticity, whatever you name it, source, being born in us again, being born through us, not just something we're reaching to, but something we're recognizing with it. So it's the God within, but also the God with us, but also the God within and the God between. So a lot of the songs kind of focus all over around that. And then there's one song that's a little rated R, so just kind of watch it when you let your kids listen
On
to
the
it.
Christmas album? Okay.
Yeah, it's real slight. So if some people kind of catch it, but it's Dear Santa, Dear Santa, let me explain. So
Uh-huh. And this album is available.
it is available now. Currently, you have to get it through my Patreon. Shortly, it'll be on Apple Music and Spotify and all those other places. But right now, you just have to go through my Patreon to get it, which I can provide the links for people that want it. Check out my page, my social media. It's all over it right now. So
Can you put it in the chat, please?
I sure can.
Thank you. And while you do that, I'm going to present the queen herself, the good queen, Miss Midwest, revolutionary purpose, pageant coordinator, storyteller, speaker, podcaster, model, actor, CEO of the Message Media LLC, Miss Angel Simmons. Now clock it, clock it.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah.
What you? Let me bring you out some more, because I gave you all that introduction. You stuck. Good evening.
You
Yeah,
didn't
I
ask
say
me
all
a
in the
question. I
same.
didn't know what would you like. What were we talking about? No.
She's like, you know the routine.
Who is you?
You just told everybody who I
Who,
was.
who is you, and why is you here?
Well,
And what you got going on with you? Because you got like 3-4 podcasts you're doing right now that I can never catch. That I
oh,
always miss.
oh, uh, yes. I am the co-host of the Mentality podcast with Chrissy Johnston for B-Side Productions, where we talk about mental health, wellness, real life issues affecting women and creatives and Chicagoans and all that good stuff. I'm also the curator of the Be the Message podcast that is having its third episode December 8th. And just so happens, my special guest is going to be Mr. LeAnzar Stockley because all of my friends are friends. And we are honoring National Grief Awareness Week. So we're going to be talking about grief. We're going to be answering some questions. I got a lot of questions for him to answer for me and for the people. So we're going to be doing that on December 8th. And obviously, y'all just, keep having me around so I stay as long as I'm needed. That's what I do. I am the author of Love's Great Design,
Oh,
Uncovering the Power and Purpose of Human Relationship, a 52-week devotional that you can get on my website, angelsimmons.com. It's on the screen. It's down there, as well as Target of Love, Surviving Narcissistic Abuse, A Journey Back to Love, Very Design. So they kind of go together. You might want to do that. The only thing I'm working on right now are these pageants. So I'm the national coordinator for Ultimate Universe Pageant System, and I am the current Miss Midwest Revolutionary Purpose, which is a virtual pageant I will be participating in February, end of February. So you've seen some things floating around because we are in the middle of the Global Beauty Awards, which are the Grammys of the pageant world. And I just so happened to be nominated. For 3 awards. I'm a first time nominee, so I'm nominated for Best Content, as well as Most Impactful, and the Carrie Damiano Faith in Action Award. So those are the three nominations that I have, and we're in the final round of voting. That ends the 27th. So anybody who is a VIP member through the Global Pageant Awards, that's what we're doing this week. And that show production takes place in April in Seattle. So me and my pageant folks will be in Seattle, and hopefully all of us make it to the final round, and we'll get to see our names in lights, whether we win or not. We're gonna be on the screen. So, and
You
we'll
said
be
that's
walking.
in February in Seattle?
That is April in Seattle, and we'll be walking the red carpet and doing some damage.
And what's in February?
February is the revolutionary pageant that I am in now.
And where is that located?
That's online. That's a virtual.
Okay.
That's a virtual competition. The weekend of the 21st, 22nd. So there'll be a few things that can be live, and I'll be posting, what the public is able to view. But a lot of the interviews and things like that, you're not going to see that. You'll just hear about it. You'll hear about whatever awards I won, right? So that's what I got going on. You're going to see a merch drop this weekend.
Okay.
Small Business Saturday and all these Black Friday celebrations, which some have started a lot, but you'll see some merch drop this weekend. And follow me on social media. I'm all over the city. I try to cross post on these different pages, but Monday I'm at Ronald McDonald House. I'm also going to be doing some things for the You Are Beautiful campaign, street art in the city, and I don't know. There's a lot on my calendar. I'm just trying to keep my hair together. That's all I'm trying to do. It's been in so long, I thought it was mine. So, hey.
So you get a lot. You get around, huh? You got a lot going on.
Watch it.
Bless your heart.
Jab turkey. It's too close to Thanksgiving to be a jab turkey.
Be a jab turkey.
Bless your heart.
Hey, bless you, Bishop. Bishop B. It's been a minute. Greetings and salutations, good sir.
B's in the house.
And you.
E2.
E2.
And me. I'm Brysen. I'm the moderator of this show. It's always a pleasure. It's always fun. It's always a joy to have a couple of friends who just actually really trust you and let you do what you want to do and how you want to do it, and they play along. They got the good markings on their part at school that they play well with others because they jump right on in to my shenanigans, and hopefully we are touching one or two people, and something is sticking and is resonating. However, we needed a little bit of help today. So we phoned a friend. We got Rude Dog on the line, and here he is. He is.
Just feel like I should be barking. I don't know.
No, because you got to. Rudy, we welcome you again. We know that you are an author in your own right, and we definitely want you to be able to share your publication. So put it up in the air, show the people in the camera. Share about yourself. You got a whole, there you go. Mud, Blood, and Cardboard.
That's it.
By the Rude Dog. And then you have what's coming up?
Well, I'm working on getting the Rude Awakening podcast and blog going, and I struggle because I just can't. See, the thing that I want to do is not like market myself to make a bunch of money. I just want to get the words out there because, I don't know. I mean, I have nothing against people that do that. I don't like it because it's too much work, and it's just like
I'm with you on that.
And it's like
we agree.
It's too much work. I mean, come on. I'm just like, you know what? I just figured if you got a revelation or a realization or an epiphany and you try to hold it and try to get somebody to pay for that, screw that. Here it is, because there's too much
Yeah.
darkness and hopelessness out there. So
Mhm.
the Root Awakening podcast and blog and the things that I want to do with that, it's just going to be me just saying some stuff. Okay, so I don't know what the rules are on here. I might drop the F bomb. So
Ain't
just
no
watch.
rules.
Okay, so that's just me. It's just gonna be one dude saying shit. That's it. That's the way. That's the way it's gonna be. And I'm
Oh,
just
I
gonna
thought you was
I'm
gonna
just gonna
cuss for
talk
real.
from
Baby.
from
That
here
ain't
and
no
get real with
real
people and
cuss.
go. You don't got to do that. So my book, by the way, is actually the story of my wife. She went through several years of mental illness, 3 suicide attempts, was hospitalized for, like, the first time she went to the hospital, she went she went in the weekend of Thanksgiving and didn't come out until the week of Easter. And anyway, it's just the ups and downs. We survived an affair. We survived all of that ugliness and the rudeness and the horrible treatment we got from the church.
Mm.
So I just tell the story right there, and in the end, it just has hope. I wrote this a long time ago, actually. Now that I look at it, like, people read it now, and they're like, I read the part where this happened, and I'm like, so what happened?
Remind me again.
I actually don't even remember, but my wife and I have been married. That happened on our 9th year of marriage, is when it all kind of went south. We've been married 37 years. My wife no longer takes any medication for mental illness or health. She actually has her own thriving secret. I call it her secret ministry, where people with mental illness find her out of the blue, call it divine, call it the universe, call it whatever. And she throws the ball up and knocks it out. And she's also my handler. So, anything that happens that's wise is because of her direction. But anyway, like I said, I was a pastor for over 30 years, and I walked away because it just got ridiculous, and I couldn't deal with that. And sometimes the church talks about making sons and daughters, and they're just creating orphans, and I'm like, I'm not gonna be a part of that anymore. I'm not gonna do that. You're just lying, and I'm not done.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
from here.
Wow.
I don't know
Okay,
what's going
I
on
have a
here.
lot of notes.
You get from here.
Okay,
Oh,
Rudy.
wow.
I'm
And
just sipping
so-
tea after that, right? I just sip my tea after that.
So good
Sweet.
tank. Yeah, I know.
That's a Selah. No, like seriously,
Mm.
Like, for real.
because that's the truth.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's not. It's a lot of these instances isn't sons and daughters being made. It's orphans.
I'm definitely a church orphan.
And some of the people that I left behind just branded me a heretic and lost. And
Of course.
then I grew my hair out long and was like,
Oh,
because it's like, I'm going to be who I really am,
Yeah.
because it's like, the one thing is, when I broke off from religion, is that I didn't just re-meet Jesus and re-meet God and rethink all that stuff. I re-met myself.
Mhm.
I had edited everything about me. I mean, my nickname is Rude Dog, and there's a reason for that, and it's because I'm the guy that's always been the one that's like, now looky here,
Mhm.
and I'm going to tell you what's up, and I've always been that way, It's not so much because I'm mean, as much as I just ain't afraid to say it. And
Mhm.
in that reawakening, oh shoot, I became a heretic. I wear that shit like a badge, because it's like, yeah, that's right. Look up the definition of heretic, and it's exactly who I am. It's somebody that has changed the way they think. It doesn't mean it, but they try to make it this pejorative word, that you're,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
so I just want to help some folk. That's
Yeah.
all there is. My ministry is in coffee shops, and I make people contact me because a friend of their cousin's uncle's roommate, twice removed. All of a sudden it's like, I'm like, how did you find out about me? And there's this trail that and I'm like, that's interesting. But
Mm.
mostly pastors trying to get out, honestly. you know.
Mm.
And anyway, I'm sick of the pain. I'm sick of the suffering. There's too much BS out there right now, and honestly, hope is rebellion. And you know, that's it. So
You
anyway.
said hope is rebellion.
Hope is rebellion, man. In this day and age, hope is rebellion. Look out there at everything that's happening, and every word that comes out of the news and comes out of politicians, I don't care
Mm,
which side, it's just trying to keep us afraid and hopeless. And you know what?
that's good.
No, I
That's
just say no to that. And, you know, no matter what happens, you know, this book sometimes, you know, I get married couples that will contact me because someone's told them about it or they've read the book, you know, and they're like, you know, my marriage is on the brink or my career's on the brink because of these decisions I've made. And the first thing I say to them is, you can survive. And they're
Hmm.
like, nobody's saying that to me. They're telling me everything I'm doing wrong. Well, don't listen to those voices. You can survive. And the truth is that you actually can weather the storm you're standing in. And if you think about it, you have suffered, but you've also survived so much more. Quit focusing on this and look at where you're going to go and what
facts.
you want to do, what's your intention. And all of a sudden they're like, we're not hearing this. We're not hearing this. And I'm like, I know, but there's people out there that have rekindled that flame, you know? So anyway, I feel like I'm talking a lot.
Mm. Mhm, mhm.
Rudy, now you about to start some mess. I just want you to know. You're about to start some real good mess, some real good trouble.
Let's get some good trouble going on, man. I'm,
I am
I'm lit. I'm ready to go.
lit. I'm still stuck at the sons and daughters,
Orphans.
or they're just orphans. I'm stuck back there from 10 minutes ago.
Hmm.
Actually, close the show actually right now. There's really nothing else to be said. So thank y'all for coming out.
Yeah.
Well, you think about it. You're called how many times?
Mm,
In what institution out there? What job? What family? What circle of friends would you stay in if they told you one thing but acted another way?
Yeah.
They tell you that you're sons and daughters, that you're loved unconditionally, that it don't matter, come as you are, and that is the biggest bunch of crap out there because that is not what happens by action. Because
mhm.
transparency is not allowed. You know what I have to tell pastors who are like, you know what, I'm rethinking this. I've been doing this for 25, 30 years. I'm rethinking this. You know what I have to tell them? First thing, listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. Don't tell anyone. Don't
Mm.
tell your board. Don't tell your staff.
It's gonna
Don't
be
tell your
something.
best friend. You need to figure out where you're going to go and then say, but the minute you say this, you know, you got pastors out there that are rethinking hell. They're rethinking what the word of God is. They're rethinking
Hmm.
church structure all over because
Mm.
what what everyone is starting to find, and I wonder if this is divine directive or not, is a bunch of people are going scratching their head and going, wait a minute. Is this what we really believe about what's going to happen to people through a loving God? Is this what we believe? Look, go
Mm.
watch Come Sunday. See what happened to Carlson Pearson. You know,
Come
go
on
watch
now.
that. See what
Here.
happened.
And
He
we
lost
just
it all and still died. uh, is my hero anyway. One of my heroes.
Mine too.
He stood up and went no, and he was making good sense on his YouTube channel and the things that he was saying because
Hmm.
it's just good sense. What institution do you stay in? Will you stay in a marriage where your partner is going to say one thing and then do another? You're
Mhm.
going to stay. You're going to work for a boss who said, "Well, that's actually little more things because bosses like lie a lot, but it's not the way it should be."
Hmm.
And we've been fed and we've been taught to consume information about God, about religion, about other religions, about other people. Look right now what's happening with Christian nationalism. They are categorizing and they're trying to set a hierarchy. They're doing it with race, they're doing it with religion, they're doing it with sexuality, and now they're starting to do it with neurodivergence. They're starting
Yeah.
to do it with people on the spectrum and mental illness. And it's like this category thing. It's like we're all not one.
Mhm.
It keeps chopping down, and who's at the helm? Pulpits.
Mm.
So anyway, I don't know where that came from. That's not what I was planning to talk about here.
And this happens.
This is why we never have a plan for the show.
Yeah.
This is why
Exactly. That's why it's just called the show. We
that's
don't.
why for the show.
The show's good. I like it.
Simplicity yet authenticity every single time, unapologetically. And that's
And
crazy because everything always comes full circle or ends up meeting at a pressure point. Uh, that's always divine because what I wanted to talk about was something that's kind of just been weighing heavy on me, or what I've seen, what I've experienced, how people avoid change,
mm,
how people avoid change, how people run from change. Is change truly inevitable? Right, Angel. Right, change begins with love. We'll start there. Right, change is
mm,
inevitable. Growth is optional. How do these things work together, coincide, or spread apart? Because we're all on the same journey for the most part, right? The end goal is we're gonna die, right? So what do we do in between this period where we might be used to one thing, like you said, Rudy, you know,
Mhm.
this, but you are failing a society, a relationship uh, that requires change, and even more so that it requires change, it definitely requires growth.
mm,
So how is change inevitable, which means it's going to happen no matter what, but growth is optional.
mm, mm. So let me say first of all, I don't like change, but that's probably my. But I do like growth. Do you know what I mean? So then there's not going to be any. There's not going to be any growth unless there's some change. Unless there's some change, some change that's actually happening, or I should say, I like maturity. I like maturing, which other people kind of say it in the sense of growth. But I think that like what you're saying is if we don't have a growth mindset, we're going to live in resistance to change. We're gonna constantly stay in resistance to change, and so then we're gonna still be in DOS when now we're in a whole world of AI, right? and we're still back here trying because we refuse to go, and so in some sense maybe that's the real left behind,
Hmm.
you know, in some sense because we're so rigid in our way that we, and again, not saying that we're unprincipled, because I think sometimes when you hear change and people say the world is changing and a lot of these things, people feel like that means that you have to be unprincipled, or
Mm-hmm.
that you're leaving something of your core
Mm-hmm.
versus actually learning how to
100%.
navigate the world, or navigate the world that you're living in. Say that again.
Picking up what I'm putting down. Y'all make my job so easy. Proceed.
Yeah. So that's just
My first thought in regards to even the word change is that it only happens successfully in safe spaces when you are allowed to be authentic with what it is you're learning, whatever growth is taking place. It's only good when it's safe. Even the comment Rudy made earlier about pastors and don't tell nobody. And the reason why you have to keep things a secret is because it's not a safe space.
Mhm.
mm,
Otherwise, people will be more receptive to your questioning, to your processing. I've been talking about that word a lot this week. But when there's a safe place, or safe spaces for it, people are comfortable. It's healthy communication. It's good relationship. It's good conversation, and you are able to evolve and become whatever it is that you're moving towards without resistance, without judgment, without negativity, and with that support. Because in the safe space comes support. And that's that soil, that's the watering, that's the nutrients, that's where the growth is coming from.
Mm. Mm.
We're in a continual state of becoming, and what we become has a lot to do with our environment. Our culture as a whole, as human beings, and all of the subcultures in between, but I'm just talking about the general culture, has not been taught at all. We are taught to become like someone else.
Mm.
Look at the billionaire worship. Look at the star worship. Look at
Mhm.
the famous people worship. And then you go to young people, high school, college age people. What are their goals? To become rich, to become famous, to become powerful. But in those goals in themselves, we could rational out that they're not all bad ideas,
Mm.
but it leaves behind the fact that at your core you're in a continual state of becoming of who you are. You don't need to be like anybody, or your family. You're just like your Uncle Bill, you're just like Aunt Susie, you're just like that guy. Why do you do that instead of edifying who you are as a person? Oh, yeah, maybe your 13-year-old is getting stubborn, but that doesn't necessarily mean that stubbornness first is going to stay there forever, but it's part of the growth period. We can't accept that. We're so busy with this consumer idea of who and what people are, taking religion all the way out and throwing it out, and just in that case, you know, it's you're violated from being what you are. And if you think about growth and maturity, what was the other word we talked about? Growth and change.
Change.
Okay, so you take a seed, you put it in the ground. We don't expect that thing to stay a seed.
Mm.
We expect
Mhm.
growth. We put it in the ground, we wait. Little green thing pops out of the ground. It's changed. That's
Mhm.
growth.
Mhm.
Then it grows up and the stalk gets big. I live amongst the redwoods, gigantic, huge, enormous trees. No one expected those trees to stay a seed. They expected those trees to grow up and be 40, 50, 60 feet in the air with trunks as big as round as a house.
Mm.
And we don't look at ourselves like that. That we it's almost anti-growth.
Mm.
You
Mhm.
follow what I'm saying? It's
Mhm.
almost anti-growth. It's
Mhm.
almost like, no, don't do that, do this. How many students are told they must go to college, get a 4-year degree, become a professional? And how many of those students, I really don't know. I'd actually do this research, but and how many of those students just do not have a desire or a gift, or the it's not even a matter of intelligence. Just they don't do that.
It ain't with it. Mhm.
Some people swing a hammer.
Mhm.
Some people do that. Some people paint. Some people sing songs or whatever, and we don't have value for all those things. It's like it's that boxed in idea, just like we get from church, just like we get from politics. It has to be within this box or it's not correct.
Yeah.
But we don't allow you know the change. Like I had 6 grandkids. All 6 of them have these, they're one thing, and then they're the next day they're something else. Even, my wife and I have been married for 37 years. We're not the same people. We're not the same. Now, in the process, we weren't like, well, we're becoming something different. It wasn't until this year when I turned 60 and I was in the freshman class of old that I realized that, that oh, wow, I am physically starting to change in ways that I've really not noticed before. You know, Bad knees, can't sleep, grumpy, get really turned off by bright lights and loud noises, and just like, and it's like somebody says we're gonna do something on Friday night, it's gonna start at 8, and I'm just like, you out of your mind.
Right.
8. 8. I'm in my jams at 8. What do you mean 8? And my chin's bouncing off my chest by 8:15. There's no way I'm doing that. But we change physically and we change emotionally. We change emotionally, right? You guys are therapists. I'm just a guy talking, right? It's like we change emotionally. Things that used to really get passionate about and we get emotional about, and we're like, well, whatever. My kid said to me the other day, it was like, you've become very compliant with mom. And I was like,
Client.
are you trying to say that I'm henpecked? What are you saying to me? Well, you just kind of go with it. You don't put any color into it. You're just like, yeah, whatever. I said, that's because it took me 37 to realize that mom's the boss. And I said, and as soon as you realize that mom's the boss, you're going to have a better relationship with her. And let me tell you what I mean. I mean that the way she thinks is to make you successful. And every time you say something and she tells you 15 things that you need to understand before you attempt that, that's her wheelhouse. That's how she thinks. And it's like, and it took me a long time to realize, oh, you're not against me. You're trying to be
You're actually
successful,
for me.
and it's like, but we change about those things. It's like the other day I was like, I'm going to move the furniture around to blah, blah, blah. 30 years ago, I'd have been like, no, I don't want that chair there. And I caught myself looking around like, what are you doing? And then I realized, I don't really care. I don't really care. It's because I'm changing emotionally. I'm changing mentally. I'm changing. It's like I'm picking and choosing my fights. And at the same time, as a person who once was conservative and once was evangelical and once was a lot of different things, all of a sudden I'm starting to see things much differently. Like my desire to see justice done, my desire to see liberation happen, the things that I read, that's because I'm changing, I'm growing and maturing. But that didn't happen start happening until 10 years ago, guys. 10 years ago when I finally just was like, screw this shit. I got to figure this out, and that's literally what happened. I remember the first Sunday night I didn't have to go to church because I was no longer on staff. And my wife and I sat on the beach watching the sunset, and we were just like, we're not right now. And we were so happy, but then all of a sudden I started to rethink things. That's it, is that we don't give people the freedom to go find out what their truth is. We want to tell them the truth. The truth is, but the truth about the truth is the truth may have some variables in it. There are constants, right? There are constants, things you can't say, 5 and 5 is 10. 5 and 9 is not 10 and never will be 10, And there are certain truths that are there. But the fact of the matter is that everything is a spectrum, right? And if everything's a spectrum, then everybody's got a different perception. If everyone's got a different perception, they're in a different place of growth. They may be on the same path as you, but they may not be walking at the same speed.
Yeah.
And it's like this whole thing where it's like, no, you got to be this way.
Yeah.
And religion wants you to be a certain way, and your alliances want you to be a certain way, and your family wants you to be a certain way sometimes. And then you're like, those 3 areas alone, church, politics, and family, puts an incredible amount of pressure on people. I know because I see it every day. Again, I feel like I'm talking way too freaking much, but
no, this is good. You because you're hitting on some. You're saying some stuff that really made me think. Actually, 2 sides to this in one sense, because like one angel is saying, change happens in safety, but it's also some of the same reason people don't want to change, because they feel safe in the same. It's like that the change is unfamiliar, right? And so we definitely see, I know, you talk about religion and different things like that. It's like the change from, I knew clearly I was hearing what I was hearing, as clear as I could clearly hear, but there was the fear that if you say it, you're going to also lose what's also valuable to you, or you're going to lose who's valuable to you or who's been there. So it's like there's that piece where, because I 100% agree, it's like safety is needed, but it's also the thing that keeps us in one place, because we're looking for the people that say, what do you really think, Rudy? And when you tell me what you really think, Angel, I'm not going anywhere. Right? When you tell you what we really feel, I'm not going anywhere. And I don't have to live according to this system. I just wrote a little while ago, I was just thinking, you're talking about having to fit into these systems, fit into, you know, it's almost like immediately when we're born, our identity is not, our true identity is almost stripped from us to be to get the identity of the culture we're raised in, the family we're raised in, the religions that is put upon us, and all these other kind of things, and we don't know who we are,
You
right?
look just
And
like your daddy.
you, right, and then you get
Soon as you
treated
come
like
out.
your daddy. Get treated
Right,
like your daddy. But
right.
it's like a lot of these things is, I'm working on a song now called, and I pulled it up when you were talking about a reality never named for you. And it's almost like we're living in this space, but like you're saying, really, people are going, something doesn't feel right. And I think that this push for love, like when we're talking about everybody moving into loving, I think that that's the safety that people are looking for, Angel, or the safety that we actually really need. But then there's a group of people that don't want to let go of, this is the structure and the system we created, and you coming with your other stuff is new age, or it's going to change what we have been doing. I remember during one of my spiritual awakenings, actually it was right before moving to Las Vegas, and I kept saying, I was saying to my pastor, and I was saying to some other people, I was like, man, I'm hearing some things that are not new to me, but I'm feeling a boldness about it to be able to speak about it. But I also know that it's going to be met with a lot of rejection. I also didn't want to feel like I was an enemy to God, right? Who wants to be this enemy to God? And so it was like, well, let me run this by. In the multitude of counsel, their safety, supposedly, right? The amount of leaders that I decided to sit with and say, I need to talk to you. I want to just hear what you got to say about this. That said, I hear what you're saying, and I actually believe you're onto something, but I can never teach that to my church.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, my face and my sense of being in that moment, it created discouragement for me. It was, you just shut up. It was, you be quiet, you shut up. But it was like, we're married to the system, which often bothers me a lot of times, is because we're married to a system, even though we're recognizing that it does not support the soul. None of it does. So we're looking at the mental health stuff. Why is there so many mental health issues the way that it is? And we'll just say, well, Rudy needs to just take medication. Angel just needs to go practice her meditation. Brysen just needs to, get into purification. She just needs to purify. But never that the system is the problem. And that where the real infection is what you're trying to place 8 billion people into this thing that's not really the liberation and the freedom for their soul. It's the thing that we need in order to keep the system running the way that it's running. And so we're treated kind of, in a sense, like machines instead of like organic beings who have a resonance that flows through them. God breathed, whatever that may mean for us. God breathed resonance to be you. You were here to be you, but yet that's not accepted. We're just going to use you to make our system work. And that, I think, I wonder sometimes if the fear of change, well, it is systemic, huh? But it's like, if it's much bigger than just the individual. If I accepted you as you are, I guess that's that safety you're talking about, Angel. If I accepted you as you are, created that space for you, would we be afraid of change? Or would we know that as I grow, as I progress, it's not a threat to anything else? Like, in terms of, we're designed for attachment, right? We're designed to be attachment, but you're also designed to be autonomous in the sense of, I'm not talking about the hyper independence and the individuality, but we're designed to have a sense of autonomy, meaning a sense of knowing ourselves, of knowing what we are. And I have a theory as to why that is, considering that we're one, but we also are many. Have a theory why I think that is, but it's like we were designed for that authenticity of being yourself, but we were equally designed for attachment. And what's happening is we're trading one for the other
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because of the way that it's set up, because of the way we've structured the family, because of the way we structured the government, the systems that we're under. And so then there's the fear of loss with change, I think, instead of the value of growth with change.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I
I
think
don't
that
really
that.
know all of how we shift that, but values was a key word. Go ahead, my bad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love the imagery of being born and your identity being stripped, because I'm sitting here thinking, who would I be if I had accepted the expectations that may have been placed on me based on cultural norms, based on societal norms, based on family. Um, I would most definitely be quiet, because I couldn't get a word in anywhere in this family. I would be quiet. I would be a devout Catholic. That's hilarious. I would be married. I would be miserable. And I would not be a creative because they don't make money. Just
Mm,
off the top of my head, everything I am, I would not be,
mm,
just based on that. And then it's like, well, is that the challenge? Is that the real meaning of life, to rediscover what you were born with that was taken from you? Is that the journey that you're looking for? What did you take from me when I breathed my first breath?
that's
And
the
this
change.
is it. Finding that. I feel like that's part of the journey. That we're not taught that.
No, we're not taught that.
We're not
But I
supposed to
think that that's the
rediscover
change.
self.
Like that's probably what really needs to. And this may be broad how I'm saying it. I don't know. Y'all smart in this round, but it's like that's what needs to change. Is we need to change and be transformed or whatever you want to call it into who we already are. We're not living that. We're living what we have to be or who we had to be. Or yeah, Rudy, when you just said a minute ago, and I'm sure you get all the other podcasters or whatever, and they would have something to say, but it resonated to me. You say, you know why I don't want to do all that? It's too much work.
So much work.
Period.
You can't say that in a word.
Period. But that's the truth. And think about this show. And how many, what we say, 5 years. 5 years. This is season 5, episode 9. We're not out here working to promote and and market, but there's always gonna be somebody in this comment section that absolutely needed to hear what was said that day. And sometimes they end up on the screen. Hey Ruth. But
Mhm.
but that's the job, that's the work, and that's the only work I'm gonna do. I'm not selling you nothing. i'm
Yeah.
not I'm not gonna make you pay for this information, because these are divine downloads. We get
Yeah.
them, we give them, and things come back to us. And
Mhm.
that's part, I feel like that's part of our responsibility as relational beings. We know the stuff, we share the stuff, we're doing our best to change the culture, we try to do it with love, we're not beating you over the head with it. It's
Yep.
just wisdom.
Mm. Mhm. Yeah. I'm so happy to finally see, even being in the mental health field, it's like I'm happy to see some professionals finally starting to say that the problem is not necessarily the person.
Yeah.
It's like this is brand new to me. And then I'm just now seeing it maybe the past 5, 6, 7 years.
Hmm.
Mm.
But the problem has always been the person and not, Rudy said in the beginning, not the environment.
Yeah.
And it's like, and the real issue, it is the environment. It's the environment that we've created and the environment that we continue to perpetuate. Right. And I think until that alignment really truly does happen, which I get it, it can be kind of fearful. There's some things that I hold deeply that I see the world changing into that I'm kind of like, ugh, I don't want to go, or I don't want this to happen, or I don't want to do that. But it's usually because something within me either sees, senses, um, it doesn't feel natural. right? It feels like we're going deeper into the system.
Mm.
That kind, and I can't never. I really have a hard time naming that because y'all know, like I feel like I struggle with language in a sense a lot of times, but it's like I have a hard time naming it. But it's like it just looks like, and I think when we have discerning, we can actually see this change is a devolving versus a change that's actually happening in the direction of growth. So like Bryson, you were saying that, growth is in what change is inevitable, growth is optional. And it's like there's some things that it seems like it's not going in the direction of growth. And to me, the way I think about growth is it continues the life-giving breath of God within us. Not something that's actually knocking the wind out of everybody.
Mm.
And a lot of these things seem to be knocking the wind out of a select few, and only a very small select few are actually benefiting in another direction. And it I don't know, it bothers me, but I see the different things that go, and I don't have the answers for how to really do it other than what I always say, y'all. Other than just, I do believe love is the answer, and I believe that love carries a wisdom within it, because sometimes we hear love and we just think, just let everything be, anything that goes. Well, if that's the case, then we just need to let everybody run around and shoot each other. But I don't know. What do I know?
A
I'm
lot,
just here visiting y'all planet.
a
I
lot,
just was sent here a little bit. I was just sent for a little while and got stuck here
and we're
longer than
glad
I
to
needed
have
to
you.
stay.
And I think that that shift you were talking about in the mental health field, that was when the question changed from what's wrong with you to what happened to you.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
now we can see past behavior, we can see past actions, and we can see past faults, and look into history, and look into culture, and look into relationship, and it always goes back to a relationship, either
Mhm.
lack of one, or something that was broken. It
Breach.
always
Mhm.
goes back to some direct violation of that person to explain the mental health condition, to explain the
Mhm.
illness, to
Hmm.
explain the tear of the mind. What
Yeah.
happened to you? And we don't take enough time to ask that question of each other.
Mhm.
When you talking to somebody and and they're going off, and it is not the behavior that you're used to. This is not the interaction that we normally have. Uh, what happened?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
typically we might ask a different question, we might ask it a different way, but we know it's not that person, because this is not the normal exchange that we're used to. What happened today? What happened to you? What happened? Something happened, because
Mhm.
this ain't right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also teaching people that what happened isn't always, in fact, it's almost never their fault. It just happened. Life happened that way.
Yeah.
Abuse, you know, horrible things or whatever. When I went on my journey, started going to therapy, started figuring stuff out, one of the things that I figured out through that wasn't just what happened and why I acted certain ways. Because the things that happened to me as a child, I got to know the child.
Mm.
And I learned that I have always been the same person. But throughout the stages of life, we'll just do it this way: elementary, junior high, high school, adulthood, and then all the stages with between then and now. It was always me trying to conform to the system, what I
Mhm.
was supposed to do, how I was supposed to act, what I was supposed to look like, the language I was supposed to use. And that came a lot. I think it came first from the church and then from my family, and it's not I'm not dissing my family. I'm just saying there's a in your family in your family, there's all kinds of traumatic stuff that's just swinging around, just getting all over everybody, just branches just smacking each
Mhm.
other, smacking into each other. And
Mhm.
and, and the problem what I learned, not the problem, but the way what I had to learn to navigate was that my change is not always going to be looked upon as a favorable circumstance.
Mm.
Everybody's not going to look at the change and go, and my healing promoted change. I finally got safe. Talk about
Yeah.
safe space. I got safe with myself and said, I'm going to look. I'm going to look and figure out why. And I had to get safe with myself and just be like, I literally sat on my back porch for 2 years and I called it listening to the wind. And I just went there. I just freaking went there. And the reason I called it listening to the wind, because I think there was some very spirit-led things that happened there. Because you know what? It kind of blows my therapist's mind when I was like, yeah, I processed that 2 years ago. And here's what happened. And they look at me and they're like, you did it all by yourself? I said, yeah, the mind is a dark and dangerous place and you should not go there alone. That's why we go to therapy. But for those of us who are pious and faith-filled and holy,
We're never alone.
those of us that think we can hear the voice of God, sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. The Spirit of God was in that with me. And you know what we were talking about? The little boy inside of me. The little boy inside of me who has always been like, why does it always hurt me when these things happen to me? Why is it that I always feel so sad? And so I want to be angry. And then it was like, look here, look here, look here. And all of a sudden I remember being 8 years old and my friend saying, I'm not going to be your friend no more. And how crushed I was. And I went, well, that feels just like what happened to me 10 years ago, you know? And it's like, wow, I've always had this. And it was like, it hit me, that kind of heart. And you've been trying to put it under a bushel. You've been trying to hide that light, trying to hide that part of you because it was weakness. And it was considered not helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and so here I am now, this old going, this is who I am. That's why I can say things like, yeah, I want to do a podcast, but man, I ain't doing the money thing because, first of all, I'm a terrible self-promoter, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is that healing promotes self-awareness, which is so lacking in our culture. Nobody is self-aware. I'm so other-aware. I'm other-aware, but I'm not self-aware.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I finally started figuring stuff out. Like, you know, sometimes I'm kind of a dick. I shouldn't be that way, you know. And of course, then my wife is older and has come through change, and she is the champion of healing. And like, I don't get away with crap. I don't get away with anything. I don't get away with anything. I remember one time I told her, listen, you're the one who has a diagnosis. And I was trying to win an argument, right?
Oh, you went there.
Yes, I did. Once. And then she put her finger right back with my face and she goes, I'm the one with a diagnosed mental illness. She just let that hang there. She let me know. You know, she let me know right there. You know what? That was a place of growth for us. And actually, I think that conversation started something in me. Actually, going back, started to go, I have some things that are out of whack too.
Yeah.
And it took a long time because, I mean, let's just be honest. I was a man. You know, we're okay. I'm just going to power through. But it's a long story. But what happened was I got off a medication, and that medication had, it unlocked all my gates. And when I came off that medication, reality was screaming at me, and I had to. I mean, I literally kind of had a. It wasn't really a mental breakdown, but it was an episode. It was several episodes where I couldn't do it. You know, I went through about a year of, you know, staring at the ceiling at night, wishing I wasn't alive and nothing was right. And then it was just, I just kind of went sideways. But when I got to it, I was like, I got to figure out why this is all happening. You know, and it was good people. It was like my wife, and it was, you know, my kids. You know, it was just important people in my life that were starting to just tell me the truth. Just tell me the truth. I started saying that to people. Just tell me the truth. My oldest daughter was like, you know what? I am so gun shy of anyone who yells inside and anyone who throws anything because of what you did to me. You know,
Wow.
and it's like, okay. Now my kids have finally said, stop apologizing. We're sick of hearing you. We've already gone through this. Enough's enough. It's over. Just move on.
Mm-hmm.
But it was those friends and it was those people who came to me and said, okay, I'm going to tell you something. And Ram Dass, the famous Ram Dass, and we're not going to get into about what he was all about, but he said he has a line that is the best line ever. And it just said, in the end, we are all just walking each other home.
Walking each other home. Mm-hmm.
Man, I'll tell you what, all of a sudden, not only was I willing to walk with people home, I'll let some people take my hand and walk me home, because you know what? I can't do this by myself. And the ones who were walking me home were the ones that had dealt with their crap. They sat with me with my crap.
That's how it's
they wouldn't go, hey, that's crap. They wouldn't go, that's your garbage. They just were me. You know why they did that? Because they had gone through it too, and there was somebody else that had sat with them at one point in their life. I go to a meeting every Friday where I'm one of the youngest people in the group. Most of us are old Pentecostal, charismatic believers who pastored churches and were worship, who all kind of came to the same conclusion late in life that was like, this something ain't right. We sit around and talk about it, and we're transparent, and we tell each other our stories, and we that is the safest group I've ever been. Like, I would go to that group and tell them anything about my life. And it's just a bunch of old white men, one white lady who's in her 40s, and right now I'm the liberal rabble rouser that is always like posting buttons going, why aren't there no black folk here? Where are the women at? How come there are no gay people here? Down here. You know what we should do, guys? Let's get some Muslims and some Jews and some Islam and
they ain't
Hindus, and just get them all in here, and we'll all talk about it. But going back to the thing of change it's hard because the system is what reigns supreme, just as you said, LeAnzar, so eloquently, because that is so true. And it's like, I get this question all the time. You ready? What radicalized you?
What radicalized you?
What radicalized you? Who do you think's asking that question? Give me a demographic. If you said straight white men, you win. Okay,
I was going to say what?
Because that what radicalized you, Rude
Definitely
Dog?
their word.
Yeah, what radicalized you? And I'm like, what makes me radical?
But I was going to say, just even that concept of like, why is that radical? It's almost like we use words now because of the system that we're in. We wouldn't normally use those words. It's that because this is not the norm,
and it's
the norm is not healing.
And the intention is to hurt my feelings because they're trying to use it as a pejorative. They're not trying to use it as like, hey, like the people that really want to know, that have known me, will come to me and go, what changed?
Tell me about this.
Tell me what's
What
going on.
happened to you?
Huh?
What happened?
Or even what happened in you with a curiosity, with a genuine curiosity.
Not this.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, tell me. I got to know. Tell me more. Absolutely. And honestly, I started answering the question because it wasn't just they were Christians, and the Christians were like, what radicalized you? I'm like, why do you, sometimes I ask them, like, why do you think I'm radicalized? Well, is it because I've decided to be very accepting to the gay community and the LGBTQIA LMNOP? Is it because I speak up for people that are oppressed, like people of color and Asians and poor? Is that why? Well, yeah, you've gotten kind of radical about those things. Well, the reason I walked away from ministry in the church in the first place is because I wanted to follow Jesus. And Jesus is who and what fucking radicalized me. You dimwit. No, I don't usually say that, but that's what I'm thinking. Because look, when Jesus went into the temple, what's the first thing he read? The scripture Isaiah. What did he talk about? What did he talk about? I am here to bring what? To restore righteousness. And what is righteousness? Righteousness is justice. Literally, the translation is justice. We turned it into holiness, and we turned it into acting right and moral superiority, but that ain't it at all. It's justice.
Wow.
But I've come to bring healing. I've come to bring justice to the downcast, and all that stuff. And everything Jesus said, everything that he did, the Sermon on the Mount, his manifesto. Why isn't that hanging? Why isn't that hanging in every courthouse in the world? But no, we got the 10 Commandments, which is in the Old Covenant anyway, which I'm totally getting into something else. But that's the thing. What radicalized me is the idea is that there was a man who was crucified because he challenged the system.
Yes.
He challenged the system that allowed oppressed people to stay oppressed. It allowed things like Rome, the empire. Are you kidding me? AKA we're living in an empire right now. And what does it do? It allows that thing. So what radicalized me is I got sick of seeing humans, human beings being categorized like they were animals and saying this one is more and this one is it. And Jesus spoke against that. Who condemns you? No one. No one, Lord. Neither do. Who condemns you? No one. Well, neither do I. Go and sin no more. What does sin mean? Not what we think it is, because the actual translation is missed the mark or a mistake. And let me tell you, making a mistake has a different connotation than you being a filthy sinner, because it's not moral high ground, and it's not moral management or sin management. It is about doing it together, because you and I all know that we make mistakes. You and I know that you need to be able to talk to each other and say, hey, I'm struggling right now. I'm struggling. I can't do this. A year ago, I had major back surgery. It's on the table for 12 hours, and they put more steel in me. I have a bionic back, as you'd think I'd be able to lift a car, but I don't. But you know what? The week before that surgery, I was terrified. And I reached out to people. Said, I'm scared. I'm scared. And people said,
oh, you got to have
one-liners, huh?
You got to keep the faith. You got to have faith.
Nobody said that to me, because I would have drove to their house.
I know, right?
But they, you know what they said? I got you. What time's your surgery? I'll pray. You can do this. Somebody sent me a bunch of statistics. I did some research, and here's all the statistics of the survivability of those things. And I'm like, thank you, you human tech machine. But I appreciated that. But the thing is, see, now going back to the thing, it's like you can't even ask somebody why they changed. Not to mention the people that are changing their mind about how they feel about their own sexuality, or chose different, or whatever. And I know that stuff's hard to wrap your head around, but we need to. Why should I use that pronoun for them? Well, because they asked. What is so hard about that?
And it's not going.
Well, I don't understand. No one's asking you to understand. They're asking you to respect them. We can't do that, because the system reigns supreme. And if we're learning anything, we're learning that what the system is doing. There's more people that are going, something isn't quite right, is it? And older people are saying things like, well, it's always been this way. It's always been this way. It's always been this way. And I love it when a person that has been living in their privilege and in their whatever comes to me and said, you know what, I heard what you said, and I did some research, and I realized, like this guy said this to me the other day, and I just wanted to do a backflip. he said, "Gosh," he goes, "I was listening to what you said about the things about colored people," and I'm like, "Okay," and he's like,
Oh
and he
boy.
says, "I realized that after the civil rights victory in 1968, that it only took 2 years before they started the war on drugs and the war on crime," and he goes, "Rude dog, do you know who they were aiming that at?" And I was like, "Blue collar white people." He
Yeah,
was
right.
like, "No." And the guy said this to me, and it just made me laugh. I laughed out loud. He said, "It should have just been called the war, not the war on crime, but the war on colored people." And I just watched this guy wake up before my eyes. And I was like, "God, I love that." And and now that I talk to that
It's
that dude,
happening.
he's just like, "You know what? It's a shame what we're doing here. It's a shame what we're doing there. It's a shame what we're doing here." He called me the other day and he said, "Did you ever listen to Rush Limbaugh?" And I said, "Unfortunately." And he says, "You know what I was thinking about?" And I was like, "What's that?" And he goes, "I was thinking about how I used to read the names of homosexuals that died of AIDS back in the day."
Mm.
Mm.
And I was like, "Yeah?" And he goes, "I was thinking about how I thought that was so funny." And I was like, "Yeah?" And he goes, and I got down on my knees and I just repented on that attitude. He goes, "I've got a lot of things to figure out, don't I?" And I said, "Oh, you're on the right track." And then, and I said, "So, you know,
What happened in him? That what because something has to happen on a heart level with people to even be open to that.
Mhm.
Like to
honestly,
say, you know what, I
honestly,
think
let
I
me
need
tell
to
you what happened to him. I say this in all humility. I did.
Mm.
we have to happen to each other in that way.
I
Mm.
happened to him. I just said, you can't look at it like that.
Yeah.
And I actually told him the story about being radicalized. And I said, and the reason I'm radicalized is because I decided to follow Jesus at face value at what he really meant. And
Yeah.
I take things like the Lord's Prayer and the Sermon on the Mount and those things, and I don't make Paul the Apostle more important than Jesus.
Mm.
Yeah.
I just said
Yeah.
some stuff right there. Okay, so you're gonna get
Yeah.
emails, but I follow Jesus, and that's the way it is. And I didn't become more religious when I did that. I became less
It actually
religious
make you
and
less
more
religious.
spiritual.
Mm.
Yeah. It
And
yeah.
then we get rid of all the certainty. You can't change when you're certain.
Yeah.
Mm.
I
You're
was
not going
at
to grow if you're certain. You're just going to stay stuck.
somebody my version of that was, oh, have you left the faith?
Hmm.
and,
Hmm.
and and in my head I'm sitting and thinking I've probably gone deeper into the faith than you, because it's a matter of actually embodying it. And what I'm hearing you say, even in the and we're afraid to say this in this kind of way, but that we affect each other in that way. If you shut your mouth and didn't say nothing, sometimes we're just waiting for stuff to drop out the sky. But it's the relationship with you that
Yeah.
made them go, maybe okay, maybe I should rethink this. Maybe I do need to, you know, have. There are some things that I think that you're faced with. And we see this with parents a lot of times. Some parents are still going to reject their children. They're going to whatever if
Mm.
they come out gay, or
Yeah.
or let them in gay, because we saying
Yeah.
come out, but really they're letting you in.
Mm.
Um, so it's like if they present that, but you got the ones that says I'm not getting ready to divorce my child, and so then they're having to kind of
Mhm.
rethink some of the things that they're, or I don't, and I'm saying rethink, they're finally having to think,
Yeah.
you know,
They're
versus
unthinking.
just being, yeah.
Mhm.
If anything, unthinking,
Mhm.
and seeing what
Mm.
naturally flows from us. Because I genuinely believe love is natural from us when we can unthink and when we can clear away all of what we've had to be to fit into whatever. Then I think that it flows naturally from our being. It's such a huge, all of it though is a huge conversation, yet a simple one to me. You know.
It's the inability to delight in anybody and everybody. I have a friend of mine. That's his thing. He's just like, can you delight in that person? And it's like,
Mm,
oh, okay.
yeah.
Can you just, you need to delight in them. And then what he's doing is he's putting a red line, like in those crime shows, tack and a red line right to love. it's like all of a sudden it's like, well, I can delight in who you are, whether I agree with you or not. There's a lot of
Exactly.
people in my circle that I do not agree with their theology. I don't agree with their politics, you know, and I don't agree with what they're saying. But it's like, but I love that you're seeking. I love that you are a seeker, and you're not doubling down. See, if you double down in front of me, you're going to catch it, because I will point that out right now. It's like, no, you're doubling down. You came in here and said you want out of the box, and you just pulled the lid on top of you.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, no, you're doubling down. You are staying in your certainty. You know, and like one guy said to me, like, what is so wrong with certainty? And I said, certainty does not allow you to grow. You're in a continual state of becoming, spiritually, intellectually, emotionally. You know, and you should be growing. You should not be the same person you were 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, I believe the same thing God did the last 35 years, and you're the same stuck person who's experienced no healing, that's really not really done anything with their life. That's a terrible thing to say, but I mean, you look at them and you're like, what have you done?
Yeah.
What is keeping you? You know, it's just a weird thing to me, and you know, I don't always get it right. Sometimes I bowl people over and I have to apologize, but it's like, you know, we tell people like, what have you done the last 30 years? You wasteoid, you know, and it's like, oh, that's not very Christ-like, you know, but, you know, no matter how true it is. But
so what's the real safety then that we, because that is what I'm saying again, certainty for us, certainty equals safety. But that same certainty will keep you stagnant. If you have to have that in order for you to grow. But at the same time, that's how we also we need a certain measure of safety. So is it what we're putting the safety in? Is it, y'all get what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, there's because sometimes I do a group called Rebuilding Trust and Intimacy, and it comes up a lot. In if your safety depends on the mentality that no one's ever going to hurt you, you're never going to trust again, ever. Your trust can't be in that somebody's going to be perfect. So your trust can't be in the certainty, right? And so there's a certain measure of safety that, even from a mental health perspective, what people miss a lot of times, we say safe space, safe people. The truth is, you actually create safety within yourself first.
Yeah.
And then people offer you security.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a relational dynamic to what we create within ourselves. People offer that thing back to us in the relational dynamic of it. But you create safety within yourself to say, hey, I know how to regulate myself. I know how to ground. But I think sometimes we are having the certainty. We're putting the trust in the certainty of what we've known, so to speak. And that's keeping us stagnant from going to what's going to unfold every day. Every day, that's the sun's going to come up it's going to be a new day every single day. And so it's almost like maybe there's the right, what does that safety have to be in so that the change can happen? One of the things that I've been coming to most lately is what I have realized in my life. I have no idea what tomorrow's going to bring. What I know is that so far, these 47 years of my life, my spirit has sustained me through all of it. That's the only true safety I have, is that no matter what has changed, no matter what has come, my spirit has sustained me. And so, but if my safety is only found in things being certain, then I'm missing I'm going to miss my opportunities for actual flourishing and maturing into who and what we're really designed to be.
It's like breaking an addiction, because, you know, it's an addiction. We have to first convince people to deconstruct all of that I mean, how many people, if you guys are in the field, how many people do you go to that expect everyone to act a certain way around them? I have friends like that. Well, they should have, and you should, and I expect my friends to be this way, and it's like, look, people are going to hurt you. because we're human beings and we screw it up, but that addiction to the system, that addiction to our certainty in the religious world, it's quite frankly, it's why things are the way they are in many ways in the church, but not just in Christianity. I can talk to, I've talked to a lot of them, and it's all the same. That fundamental certainty that this is the way it has to be, or else hell, or else excommunication, or else, what your standing is lost, or whatever. And that brings you, what that does, that addiction gives you a place of importance. It gives you a place where I fit in here, and sometimes it has nothing to do with religion, or nothing to do with that. It has to do with academia, or, I need this. I need to be recognized for this degree, this thing, because that gives me certainty that I know, and that I have, I have power, and this is what makes me me. But that paper on the wall doesn't make you you.
Sure don't.
It doesn't make you you. What I do doesn't make me me. I am a person who does things, but doing those things doesn't. What just happens to ministers all over the place? They want to give up their church, and they want to leave, but they don't know how to do it because their money's connected to it, and their friendships connected to it, and their job's connected to it. Everything's connected, and they're like, I can't do it. But you just told me you don't believe that anymore. Well, I can't do it. Well,
fear.
Then what I try to do is get them to thinking. Maybe what you should do is just consider this. Just consider it. Consider it. That's it. And that's to me, that's the first part of breaking the addiction, because it's just like actual chemical thing. It's like, that's where you get to the place where you realize that you have a problem, and that you were lied to, and that the things that you have based your whole freaking life on, which is everybody within and without, is that system. How many people tell you capitalism is the greatest thing in the world? It's the greatest financial system in the world. And I always counter that with, how can a system be great that is designed to keep poor people poor and oppressed people oppressed? I don't see it that way. I understand that. You've made that perfectly clear by your statement. Now, will you consider why these people are that way, and you're not allowed to say it's their fault? And then come back and we'll have a discussion. And it's like, well, no, it's not because they're lazy. It's not because they didn't work hard enough. It's not because of any of that. Go look at the system and tell me why.
Yeah.
Tell me how that's okay. Which is what's kind of what I tell Christians. Tell me what's right with this idea. How do you take away healthcare? How are you this oppressive to immigrants? How you do this? And you tell me how that matches up with your doctrine of your faith that you say that you believe. And then come back and just consider it. Just consider it. See, I'm not trying to debate. Just consider it. And then they come back and they go, I can't. They won't say I'm right half the time. But they'll be like, I just couldn't, and I don't know what to do. And I look them right in the eye and I tell them, you're having a spiritual crisis right now, aren't you, baby? You're having a spiritual crisis right now. You don't know. Well, let me tell you what, I will be right here, and I will walk every step of that journey with you. That's what's happening, and it's like, I started pulling the weeds from the garden without their permission. They didn't even, actually, they thought they gave me their permission, and they just start pulling their own weeds, and it's crazy. It's insane to me how we will not stop to consider that everything that I think and am can change and could be different. How many times have I heard as a white person that Black people are violent, gay people are perverts,
And some of
immigrants
them are.
stealing jobs, bro.
Well, good day.
the immigrants are stealing jobs, and I mean, all this kind of stuff, and it's just like that we attach these things on them, right? But then I like to go back to them and go, okay, but tell me how. Tell me how. That guy
Mhm.
said to me the other day, gay people are coming for our children, and I was like, what world do you live in? And he's like, yeah, they want to turn all our all our children gay, and I said, could a could they have turned you gay? Let's just pick an
Mm.
age 11 would have just turned you gay. Well, I don't think so, not me.
So why do you think? Mm-hmm.
you know
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
but
I think that, when it's this is real good, and people will resist all to be damned. They're going to resist. They're going to procrastinate. They're going to stagnate. All the things. Everything against just choosing to embrace it. Embrace it as an opportunity to develop new skills. Gain knowledge, improve yourself. Um, Dismiss it from being an opportunity and saying, "What can I learn from this?"
Mm.
Just those little things. Just those little things, like in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said a few minutes ago, Lee, it's fear. The fear of the unknown.
It's
It's
fair.
breaking tradition. You know, it's being scared to go beyond the brink. It's,
Mm-hmm.
it's being scared to really just search your soul.
yeah, fear is
To make
being marketed
it
through
It's
everything now.
everywhere. Yeah,
Everywhere,
it's in everything.
everywhere.
Yeah.
You know,
I put in there the stages of change, just like some because when you were talking about just the change, and I think that's good for this. Like when you talk about the contemplation, but you got pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance. And sometimes I think we're still floating around in the pre-contemplation stage, but
Mhm.
you know,
For
and that
decades.
for
For that,
decades, that's
no
that's where
matter how old you are.
you get those people that have no intention to change their behavior in the
Mhm.
foreseeable future, but there are those that are in that contemplation. And I like, Rudy, how you say, can you just even consider this, just even consider this, because I think if a person really genuinely considers, that can be the precursor for any decisions that actually come from that, you know that come after that. That's that contemplation. That person is aware of a problem and is seriously considering making a change, you
and
know.
and
And so,
the other thing is because it's serious business when you start going down these roads. It's coming out of the matrix, coming out of the primordial ooze and realizing that you've been a part of the machine. Go watch the Matrix again, man. Wow, that's a prophetic movie right there. But it's
yeah,
like you come out of it and you realize that you're not who you thought you were. You're
that
not
part,
what you thought. Everything
that
that you
part.
got told in your education, in your raising, and it's just was this robotic idea that turns us to be slaves to the system, right? So everything that they do is to scare us back into step back in line, step
Mhm.
back in line. And but when like I said earlier, that I said that person experienced me, right? But I will say that what I always do, and I believe this with all my heart, everything must be done with love and concern for that person as a human being. And also, it must be encased in hope, like a sunken ship. It must be a type of hope that completely consumes them and is within them. And when we speak those words that say safety, that say goodness, that say love, that say patience and kindness, that hope starts to crack that shell.
Hmm.
And it's, like I said, I don't always do it right, 'cause sometimes I get frustrated, and
Yeah,
I'm just like, fine, you know go live your stupid life, and come back to me when you really want it, but
yeah,
but it has to be, because that's what we are as light workers, as star children, as sons and daughters of God, of all those titles, is that we got to keep our light going, you know And if you guys are like me, I have a lot of moments because of the state of the world, because I do see, and what seers see, not everyone sees. And
Yeah.
when we see it, I guess we can carry it. But I spend a lot of time just staring at the wall, thinking, I don't know anymore. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, and then I have to do the thing with myself, you know, and go, you can do it. You're seeing this because I guess you can carry it, you know, and then, you know, it's like a choice. It's just a choice to keep the fire hot, keep the light bright, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and there's times where I'm just like, I don't know why I even care. You know, I'm just gonna go grow tomatoes and go live off the grid somewhere, grow some weed and just be me and just be an old hippie and just die out in the dirt one day, you know, and just screw all this, you know. But the divinity in me and the divine, the universe is calling us forth to do something, because in the end, we're all just walking each other home.
Yeah.
And for
Yeah.
some reason, that commission is on us. That's all I could say. It's just a
It is
commission,
us.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
It is us.
Healing promotes change, and change promotes growth. That's what it is. Rudy, you are a whole jam. You are a whole jam. Lee, how come you
Strawberry,
weren't on here before?
strawberry or apricot?
Apricot.
I ain't know I'm marmalade.
Hey,
Marmalade.
Rudy,
I'll come back anytime you want. I love doing this because it gives me a place to. First of all, I was blown away that you asked me to be on this thing in the first place, just because I made some comments in the comment section.
Told you ain't nobody say.
But
Ain't
first of
nobody
all,
say.
nobody.
I've listened to, like, I don't know, 4 or 5. I haven't, you know, like the day that I was commenting was like the second time I ever listened, you know, and that was only because I opened up Instagram or whatever, and Czar had it on there, and I was like, what is he doing? And then I found myself just like, I was staring at my phone. Everybody was talking. I was like, shh. Finally, I got up and went in the bedroom. Oh, good. What? You know, but and it's super cool,
Listening to
you know,
something.
what you guys are doing and what you have done for 5 years. That's incredible. It really is. And you guys are right about the thing. It's like there was stuff said that first episode I listened to where I was like, oh, well, I guess I needed to hear that. I don't really remember what it was. I have to go look at my book and see what I wrote down. But it was like there was some stuff there that helped me in an exponential way. You know, that was because you guys had a commitment to what's happening with this, you know, and you're not trying to become the bigger, better, next best thing, you know, and that it matters because there's a lot of things that are there. The one thing that I wanted to share is that you're talking about what Brysen said about willing to learn, willing to change. I read crazy stuff. Like, I don't know if you guys have read The People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn. Okay. Shame on all 3 of you.
I have to say, you know, I don't read
this because this is it.
Okay.
A guy named Howard Zinn. He's one of my heroes. I picked this book up not that long ago just because I wanted to know what the big fuss was about Columbus. It's all this dude's fault. He also has a book that says you can't say neutral on a moving train.
Oh,
That is, it's his story, and it was like, dude was a college professor. He was a white dude. He was a Jewish dude, and he went in 1956 or something, or early 50s. He went to work at he started teaching at an all-black college in Georgia named can't remember the name of the college, and then started teaching social disobedience and protesting. And I mean, and the dude's I think on Prime they actually have that documentary about him. But this will change your life. This changed me life because I realized, whoa, because you know those times you're like, okay, what else don't I know? This will change your life. Then this book. Okay. And now, if you three don't read this book, I will call
Wait,
you
wait, wait,
bad
wait, wait. Hold that
and
book back up.
But
Hold that book back up. Hold it sideways. No, like the other way, so I can see the pages. No.
You will see how
No.
thick it
you want
is.
to see how thick it is?
Oh, good Lord, Jesus.
They have audio.
Look at my bookmark. Look at my bookmark.
That's
I
like-
haven't even read
Just
that
go
book
listen to
because-
it. Listen to
That's
it.
like I have to read books with the audio, but I like the book.
No, I do
And I
that
listen
too.
to the
LeAnzar.
audio
I
and
do that
read it.
too. I read with the audio.
Yeah.
Or I'll be like reading, and all of a sudden I'm like,
You stuck on one
apple
page.
pie. I'm gonna make apple pie, you know. And then 3 pages later, I've discussed my apple pie memory and not my thing. But
Myth of
this
Normal
book
was that
right
good.
here, this was clearly written to Black folk. But for me, I'm learning so much about the culture, about the ideology, because he doesn't just what he starts the book out by telling a story about him giving a speech, I think in high school, at the Martin Luther King Jr. Orator Contest, and he wins, right? And then he starts telling you why his speech was so racist. So he deals with biological racism, ethnic racism, I mean, and it just breaks it down where he starts talking about, all that stuff I said about the categorization of things. That's something I didn't see. But this guy right here, and he's a college professor, and he's written a bunch of stuff, and I'm gonna read everything the guy has because we live in an empire that's built on racist ideas, and being colorblind and being not racist isn't good enough. You've got to be anti-racist, and that's the thing there. But that's just one example. And I'm not trying to be the savior here. I'm just like, I want to know. And the reason that who got me doing this is my oldest daughter. My oldest daughter is the one who did the most for me, because I was living in Vegas, and I'd call her on the way home, and I started the conversation by saying, I need you to tell me I didn't ruin my life. And she's like, no, you didn't ruin life. But every day she would point something out to me and make me go think. She was telling me to consider things. First, she told me I was a highly anxious person. I didn't think I was dealing with anxiety, but I have an incredibly problem with anxiety. That was the baby steps. The next thing was, let's see, what did she do? She made me see that I was a misogynist, that I was racist, that I was a homophobe, that I was a homophobe.
She was a beautiful mirror.
And I'd be like, I would get off the phone with her, and I'd be driving, and I'd be like, wait a minute, what did she say? What am I learning about myself? I'd call her back. You think I'm racist? And she'd be like, Dad, you are by default.
Wow.
Yeah. You think I'm a misogynist? You think, well, this is how it was done, and it's like you have to deconstruct the whole package, and that makes you a thinker. And when you're a thinker, you can't be certain, because thinking is, you just have to continue to think about it. So anyway.
There's cards to go with that book.
We
I always
appreciate
feel like I'm talking too much.
There's cards that go with that book too.
the insight that I know. I was trying to look it up too. I was Googling too. The insight that you shared, this will not be the last time that you'll be on the show.
Oh, okay.
Okay. We appreciate your willingness and your readiness. You present zero resistance, and we thank
Hoot dog.
Right.
So do you have is there like is your book, where can we find your book?
Amazon.
Okay,
Yeah.
Amazon.
Nut Blunt Car Bars on Amazon, and
Website or anything else that we could share?
well, like
When
I
is the
should probably talk to you,
podcast?
Brysen, because I need to know how to do this whole podcast thing. But it's like, I just want somebody to do it for me, and my wife keeps telling me that's not how it works, and I don't like that answer. But 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 you know, it's I'm going to do that. You know, I will share two kind of really cool stories. You know, I mentioned the Friday meeting, and then I have another little group of people that we meet with once a month, and Anna and I are the youngest. No, we have one that's younger than us, but then everybody else is like 78 years old, and it's people that you know just got tired of it, and we meet once a month, and now we're planning on starting a dinner for the LGBTQ community here in Humboldt County that we're just going to serve and pay for, just so they have a place of connection. But they just need to see that because what we found out, because I have another thing that I'm doing with a friend of mine named Cody, who is a great guy, trans man, we've just been talking. He called me one day and he said, "Would you be willing to teach a Bible study to the gay community that want to keep on following Jesus?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." I said, "And it's going to be called Taking the Death Out of Scripture Interpretation," you know, and you know, and just so now we've got this whole big thing going where we're just trying to bring those people in. Oh, because you know, Humboldt County is, you know, this place is kind of Mayberry-ish. You know, it's like Barney Fife and you know and Aunt B, and you know, and it's also it's actually more diverse than it was when I first moved here in 2010. But you know, it can be a little bit rednecky if I can use that term, and but there's a lot of the people from the community that are there, and so we're just trying to find a nice. Trying to make something that works for people in the community where people can come and have conversations. We want to hold classes for the community, you know, like a class that's going to be like, so your son says he's gay and you don't know what to do with it. Why don't you come talk to actual people who know?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so, you know, we're in the process of doing that. There's a thing here that there's a queer community here that does stuff, but they don't do stuff this far south in the county. So, you know, we're just trying to do whatever it matters, you know, and just give as much hope and as much love and as much acceptance to everybody. You know, sometimes we get mad at the parents that kick out their kids when they're gay, but I think they need love too. You know, like, okay, what you're dealing with here is, you know, it doesn't work when you walk and beat on the door and tell them how ignorant they are, you know, even though there is a time and place for that, believe me, because I've done it, you
When
know,
you
so I'm not perfect,
make sure
but
you share with us what they are, like when they're happening,
oh,
so
definitely.
we can definitely, you know, pay it forward and share because, you know, like we said, we just as long as one person, you know, gets what we're doing,
Right.
you know, then the job is done. Rudy, can you share your book? Put your book in the air one more time.
Here it is.
You guys go get that book, Mud, Blood, and Cardboard. You can find it on Amazon.
You can find it on Amazon. You can get a hard copy or you can get it on Kindle. And it's super cheap because, like I said, you know, I ain't trying to be a billionaire. Now, if somebody gives me $1 billion, I'm going to take it.
I was going to
I
say
ain't gonna
now, if
work
somebody
for it.
send it your way now.
Somebody
don't be
sends me $1
acting no
billion,
fool.
I'm going to take it. But there's too much other things to do
I
than to
need
strive
$20.
after all that.
I need
Besides that,
$20.
billionaires don't have a real good track record with me right now.
Angel, LeAnzar, any final words?
No, I'm just grateful for our special guest. We never know what the show is going to look like. Today, it looked like what we thought it would look like.
Good. I'm glad.
So we are glad to have you on the show, family. I'm excited about your podcast.
Yeah.
You got your first subscribers right here. Whenever that happens, and I'll be on the Amazon looking for that book and that book and that book, and on Prime looking for that documentary. So we're just grateful for your presence and your wisdom. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us tonight. And
I appreciate it so much, guys. And then when I start my podcast, I'm gonna have all y'all on except LeAnzar because he talks too much. I love LeAnzar. LeAnzar is one of my favorite. You know, it's really funny. I told my son the other day. I said, it's my friend LeAnzar, and he said, what's his name? I said, LeAnzar. He goes, what? And I go, and it's spelled LeAnzar. And he was like, fuck that guy and his name. I was so mad at him. Because how'd he get such a cool name?
Oh, Rudy, when you told me that, I died. I laughed so hard. And tell him I didn't even like it growing up, but yeah.
I heard him. I heard
It
him on.
is
He was
what it
playing
is.
games with his friends. He's 34 years old now, but he's been playing games with people since he was 14. And he goes, "Let me tell you about this name." And I heard him telling him about it's spelled LeAnzar.
Tell him I appreciate him.
I did. He
I
laughed
appreciate
hard.
him for it.
I appreciate guys. Appreciate what you're doing so much, and just keep on keeping on.
Thank you.
For sure.
I appreciate you guys, and I'm gonna get. What was your book called, Angel?
These
Love's Great.
Love's Great Design, uncovering the power and purpose of human relationship, and Target of Love, surviving narcissistic abuse.
Well, I saw them and they interest me.
I'm so happy. Target of Love, you can get on audio. You can get
Oh.
both of these. You can get them digital,
Mm.
but you can get Target of Love on audio if you need to hear my voice. It's my voice.
Really?
It's literally my voice. Yes,
That's so
I can
cool.
trust somebody to do that. So that was quite the experience. But if you want paperbacks, I got them.
Make sure you listen though in the open, because we don't want Anna think you talking to some woman. Because Angel got one of them voices.
Stop. I don't use the voice for this book.
Oh, you don't use it for that book? Oh.
I couldn't do that.
You catch her on Twitter or what was it you used to do? Reverb Nation.
Reverb Nation.
You be
All the spoken word is on
Whispers
Reverb
in the
Nation.
night.
Go to angelsimmons.com, go to LeAnzarStockley.com, check out Rudy on Amazon.com, get that book, get these books, get these audios, stay connected with these geniuses. Thank you guys for tuning in to the show. This was excellent. Excellent.
Thank you for having me again. Appreciate you guys so much.
Stay tuned.
Thank you for showing up.
All
It's
right.
probably because you left Vegas, because folks in Vegas flake.
No, I didn't just leave Vegas. I left without saying a word. Huh?
Right. Look, I'm like, where you at? In the red
Not
room.
fair.
I was still fight or flight or freeze, man. I just bailed out. So
Say bye, y'all.
Bye, Facebook
bye.
or YouTube.